Hey everyone, welcome to day 002. Sounds like the audio's working. I don't want to make the same mistake as yesterday. um, I've got on screen here, this is a little markdown file from yesterday. I want to just kind of jump right into it so we get the most out of our hour. Um, Yesterday, let's just look at what we accomplished. We talked about what we're going to build a little bit. I'm hoping we can have some more episodes later down the line where we can talk more about architecture, and so this we're not just code monkeying the whole way through, but and there's potentially some guests I'd like to bring on to talk about some of that architecture stuff as well. But after talking about our stuff, we created our workspace. That's done. I posted it up on GitHub on the Narwhal org as a public repo. So if anyone's out there following along, feel free to pull it down. Eventually, I'll get it into our Twitch profile stuff so that it's readily available, but I'm still figuring all that stuff out. And then we said we were going to serve a front and back end app and show them communicating. We did that. We served the web client. We served the API. We just had sort of a dummy call between the two to show proxies working right. Both apps were like live refreshing and all that good stuff. And we started looking into our content posts. So this is like in a social media platform, a Facebook post, I guess, or a tweet. And we made a little utility file for that with an interface for now. And we started on the API. We got stuck a little bit on the Git posts endpoint. Just one of the ways I set up the lib got a little wonky, but I've adjusted that now, and that's pushed up to GitHub. So we should be clear to go on this. But let's get a quick list of what we're going to try to do today. I posted some stuff to Twitter here, so I'm just going to pull some of this down. So the first thing I want to do, actually, before we get into the API, again, is we wanted to set up our app with NxCloud. It looks like something fun we could do to see sort of the distributed caching we had mentioned yesterday and some of the cool stuff you can do with NX. After that, we're going to do our in-memory content posts. So that's just setting up the API with some in-memory storage. And we're going to be able to retrieve and create posts on the front end. Excuse me. And put it as a tentative. If we have time, I'd like to get Mongo set up and working with content posts. So there's not much to setting it up. It's pretty much we'll just create a Mongo connection inside of our Express, and pretty much rather than using the arrays we'll be doing in this step, we'll just be putting stuff into the database and adjusting the database so we have sort of persistence there. So yeah, let's jump right into it. With setting up our app with NxCloud. And let me pull up NxCloud. All right, I guess it's nx.app. I'll pull it up on my screen in just a second here. And there we go. Full screen this, and I'll transition over. There we go. So this is NxCloud. I had the pleasure of working on this for a while on the API a little bit. Looks like I'm already logged in, so I'm going to jump into our workspaces. Oops, something working. NxCloud's being kind of slow. Oh, I probably, huh. Odd. All right, well, we're here. Let's set up our workspace. All right. So let's kind of put this over to the side, and we'll have our VS Code here. So it says to check our nx.json file and see if we're using the NxCloud task runner, which we are. Cool. So we'll click that. Copy and paste the access token. Here we go. Dump that in here. We get 5 hours per month for free. I think that's probably enough. So we'll just click next here. And we have connected our NX workspace to NxCloud. I think we did it. Let's see. Nothing to show yet. Let's see if let's bring up the terminal here. Let's make a new one for now. Let's see if we run npx nx test our circle web client. So this failed, but that's okay. I think this was sort of the test we had set up for that component, kind of just the boilerplate that came in. Apologies to Brandon if you're listening. So I think, though, regardless of whether it failed or not, we should see something here now because we've written to the cache. Oh, maybe it's. I think we run aggregate get jobs. I think on a 10-minute cycle, so we might not see it yet. So I'm going to try running it again and see if we can get that to come in. Well, I don't see the distributed cache coming into play here, unfortunately. Oh, let's try npx nx build our circle web client. See if we can get it to work that way. Oh, okay. Double check the commands being run are cacheable. Cacheable operations. Let's see. Well, it looks like test should have been cacheable. Maybe because it failed, it didn't cache. Okay, but there, our build completed. We're able to run that. Let's see if we can get an instant rebuild now. Yeah, there it is. Interesting. I bet it was because our tests failed. Let's see if we can get that to pass real quick. I think we were just looking at app component ts or app component spec.ts rather. It's going to test a lot of things on the title that's not even there anymore. So we can just kind of kill all this stuff. There you go. So let's try testing. Still failed. Oh, because we're not. We'll have to import HTTP client module. I think this will fix things. because we're not really doing anything with it. There we go. So now we're passing the test. Let's see if we test it again. There it is, cached output. Beautiful. All right, so let's see. Maybe we caught it in the middle of the 10-minute thing and could see some time. Cache has been pushed up. Okay, there's the thing. All right, well, we'll have to check in later to see how much time we're saving. That's pretty cool. Just that it's that easy. We covered that in 10 minutes. Well, it's pretty good. All right. So let's go ahead and mark that off. And let's jump into our in-memory content posts. All right, so we wanted to have a Git endpoint that's just going to, for now, it's just going to give us all our content posts. Excuse me. And then we're going to have a create. Well, actually, let's just do like this. So this will be a Git. I don't know if this is proper markup or what. Kind of like just imagine this is a table. We're going to post to create post. That's going to create a post based on the body of that post. So the idea is, well, let's do this too. We'll also have a Git. So Git just at the root is going to give us all content posts, and then we'll have like a Git with an ID. Give us content post, add given ID. I think between the three of those things will be pretty good. All right, so let's focus on this for now. It always takes my pluses and turns them into minuses. That's okay. So let me do this. I'm going to slide this over. Okay, this is still set here from last time. I'm just going to make this larger. I think that's still pretty visible. Alrighty, so let's go back to where we had been before. So we're inside of our libs and our backend content posts. Inside of our lib here, we had our posts. So this is kind of like our in-memory storage right now. So the big downside to doing something like this versus like a solution like Mongo is it doesn't persist between serves. So since we have kind of auto serve on right now, it means anytime we make an update to anything in this lib, I guess anything to the back end, we're going to essentially reset the post back to its original state. So we'll have to keep that in mind. So that might actually not be that bad in terms of like testing, because we'll always go back to our starting test point while doing this. So that might work out pretty good. So we have our posts inside of our Git posts. We have our request handler. I think I may have cleaned this up a little bit from last time. And let me open up our main for the API so we can see how this is plugged into the routing on the API as a whole. So just getting at the root is going to just send a 200. That was to kind of demonstrate the setup thing we had here. So I'll put a little to-do remove eventually here. but then, oops. But then we're going to have the router use at the content post route, or content post reducer, or content post router, which is coming from the lib we had set up. And yeah, I think that's all we need to look at here. So essentially, if we have our git posts and we have our, this is kind of like the, let me rename this to just be our router. Rename router. I'm going to get rid of this spec file for now. I'm actually not a huge fan of unit tests, surprise, surprise, but I'd love to get into doing some like Cypress end-to-end testing with all of this together. Maybe we can get to that later this week or into next week. So now we have the router. Let's make sure we're exporting from the router. And instead of doing the export star, I'm going to explicitly export the router, so we can use this index file almost like as an API of what's being intended to be consumed from this module, which for the purposes of this module is really just the router. We'll drop in the router into our main app, plug it into the main app at this content post route, and then kind of be done with it. So inside of our router, we have our specs.router, and we're going to call git at the root level is going to call git posts. All right, so let's see if that's working. Let's make sure we're serving our API, our circle API. That was quick. Listening on port 333. All right, so we're going to go to localhost. Oh, that's interesting. What was my mouse doing there? I think I got some water on my trackpad. All right. So it's saying can't get slash. Let's try content posts get. All right. Let's see. Oh, that's why. So I have the router. So this is the app level router set up to use API. That was set up too with our proxy. So that's why I wasn't getting anything here. Before I can do that, I need to do API. This should give us the OK. If we look at the network tab. Oh, I guess it's not in the network tab because it's just doing the get. But now if we go to content posts, we can see, okay, so this is coming back from that array as we expected. So sweet. Let's go back to VS Code. I'm going to mark that as done. So next is getting at a specific ID. So I'm trying to think for this one. I think we'll probably just use array.find. I don't think we need to, as we're going to be hopefully getting rid of this later today with the Mongo stuff. No need to like make a hash map for this. So let's go back to our lib for the backend posts. So I'm going to make a new file. I like making lots of small little files for different, like one per handler. It's kind of my sweet spot. I hate having really long files. So I'm just going to create a new git post by ID, and we're going to export const git post by ID is a request handler. We have a request. We're going to have a response. And So I believe now we can say constant ID is equal to request.params. I think we'll have to check that. So in a console.log ID here, just to check. And then we'll bring in our posts. Find post such that post.id is equal to our ID from the request params. Constant matching post. So then we'll say if there is a matching post, send post. Matching post. Else we'll send a 404. There you go. So we'll check this. Let's go to our posts.ts. Let's just make this 1 for now. And we're going to take our router and we're going to add the get here. Post by ID. And let's check to see if that's running. First, refresh on that. We can see we're still getting the post at that ID. Then if we do 1 here, we got a cannot get. Let's see. And that was the 404. I'm pretty sure it's because we sent in, well, let's see. I guess we could check our, maybe, I believe this might be the case. Let's just try to make sure that wasn't the problem. Post 1. Okay, that was the problem. So just forgot my slashes inside the route. So I got the content post at 1, and I get just the 1 JSON back. If I get rid of that ID, we get the array of all of them, which is just the 1. If I throw in a 2 here, I should just see a 404. Oh yeah, 404. Yep. Cool. So that was easy enough. We'll mark that off as done. And then create post. This is where things will get interesting a little bit. Not too interesting, I guess. So we'll call this create post .ts. So before we go into this, let's jump to the models file we had here. So we had already the export interface content post. So this is kind of the content post as the back end thinks about it, as the front end is going to think about it in terms of like just a raw data structure. So we're just like linking to an author ID for now, which would I'm imagining on the client side. We'll probably have something with NGRX eventually where we can look at all our different users, so all the users' friends, and be able to cross-reference things that way. So we're going to want here another interface for content posts, but this is going to be like we'll call this a create content post request body. It's a long name. But can we? That's specific enough. We'll leave it like that. So we won't have an ID with that because we'll want the server to designate an ID. So again, this is the communication from client to server initially. Really, we'll want the content to be in the body, which will be a string. The author ID we'll want to determine from our authorization, which isn't set up yet, so we'll just set that to like a static ID for now. And created, we want the server to dictate as well. So for now, it seems kind of silly to just have this interface. Was quite a long name for just this, but I do want to set things up this way because eventually we're going to want to do something where different kinds of content here. We could do like a picture, video, or something like that. Different kinds of content. So as that interface changes, I'm going to want to change that at this lower level so that when the interface changes, I'll make sure the front end is working with this interface and the back end is also working with it. So we'll go to create posts, our create post handler here again, and we're going to have, well, first, well, we're going to want to use the body parser here, but we'll do that at the router. So for now, we'll just kind of assume there's a body on the request. We'll say constant create post is a request handler. Need to export. We'll give a request. We'll give a response. I know there's probably a way to generic size this request handler so that the body, it looks like the request body is like the third parameter, but that always seems kind of silly to me. Just to add a whole bunch of things to the request handler. Maybe eventually we'll use it, but for now we'll just say constant body is rec.body as a create content. So this is kind of just saying, we could have done this by adding some generics up here to the request handler type, but we'll just kind of force the body into this shape for now. So that's our body, and we're going to want to I guess assign an ID. How are we going to want to do this? I guess just in post, it's kind of silly again, but we'll just export let post counter equals 1. And inside of our create post, we'll say constant ID is equal to post counter plus plus. Actually, let's do plus plus first. Import that. And what is this going to complain about? Cannot assign post counter. Okay, well, let's see what that's about. So we tentatively have an ID here. I think I might need to do something like rather have a sort of like a getter setter type thing, set that up. And just looking at going from the body to this, actually let's deconstruct this so we can have our content this way. We've got our content, we got our ID. For now we're going to say const author ID plus 1. Equals author, and created is a new date, and we're going to want to say here return ID, content, author ID, and created as a content post. Actually, no, we don't want to return that. So, actually, let's do it this way. So, constant new post equals ID is this. Author ID is our author ID. Created is the new date. We don't want to return this. We're going to want to say res.send new posts. So we'll kind of, the idea, if we're thinking about the communication, client will send a post body. In response, if it's successful, the API is going to send back a content post. I think that will work. I think, well, we're going to want to, we're going to want to take our posts dot push our new post, and we're going to want to add the content. Let's see. Yeah, let's just do this since this is just a silly thing anyways. Let's get rid of that and create posts. We'll do it like that. It still doesn't like this. Let's see. Oh, yes. Okay. We'll do it like this. There we go. All right, that looks good. I don't have Postman set up to kind of test this properly just by sending a post over. So let's just mark this as done ? We'll confirm it by creating something on our client. Normally I would just use Postman, but I don't want to bore people by setting that up here. So we have done this. We're done with our in-memory content posts, kind of. Gotta make sure this works still. I think that's going to work. Let me just think this through. So we've got our content, create a new post, push that into the memory array, and then we send that out. We can get rid of this. Just Option Shift O to instantly format imports. Always nice. Oh, and we're going to want to, before we run, or before we leave, we're going to router.post, create post, and create post. And how do we use, okay, so we're going to want to, what was that? Import star as body parser from, oh, I don't think I have that installed yet. Let's npm install that real quick. Is that body dash parser or body parser? Let me look it up on npm real quick. Body dash parser. When this is over, I'm just going to queue up npm id types slash parser. I'm just going to Google here. So I've imported the body parser middleware to use with Express so that we can parse out the body from our request. I really we only want that middleware to work on this post right here. So I think I don't know if I can do like post.use and then body parser. I'm not sure if that'll work or not. If that's how you're supposed to do it. So I guess we'll see if that works. If it doesn't, we'll know. So we're tentatively done with this. Let's go move on to retrieve and create posts on the front end. Cool. So I am going to use the plugin real quick, and we're going to create first Angular library. So the library name is going to be content posts. Style is this. We're going to put this in the front end directory as opposed to the back end one. And I think that's all we'll need. Essentially, we're just going to want to create this module so we can create some components for the content posts. And we'll just export them for now and bring them into the app proper. So that's how we'll run it. So let's put that in our thing here. So we're going to create a content post list component. And this is going to be exported from front end content post lib. Oops. And so let's put first actually create front end content posts lib. And then we're going to create a content post component. We'll say this. We'll say that this will also communicates with the create post endpoint we set up. This one we're going to say is going to communicate with the I guess this is just content posts endpoint. Cool. So inside of here, we'll go ahead and run this to create the lib. So we'll mark this as done. Let's go on to create the post list component. So we're going to generate a component, and we're going to call it content post list. Name of our project is front end content posts, and style. I'm not a big style guy, so don't expect too much from me on CSS stuff. I'd love to get someone else in, maybe from Narwhal, that's really good at creating design systems. That'd be a cool thing to show in this project eventually. For now, I'm just kind of worried more about wiring things up, though. So this component's probably going to be really simple. Probably just actually a We'll just throw it in a pre with a JSON pipe. So let's run this. Yeah, we're kind of short on time too, trying to get through everything. So we went ahead and made our component. So let's go look at our libs, front end, content posts. There's our content post component. Here's that. I always like having template over here, TypeScript over here. Oh, we've got the bad selector here. Let me update that real quick. That's going to be in the workspace. The prefix, let's call this our circle. Then I think all I'll have to do is update it here. Our circle. Cool. Inside of the module, make sure we're bringing in the HTTP client module. Angular core common slash HTTP. So this way we'll be able to inject our private HTTP. This is the HTTP client. I don't want the module. There we go. Get rid of this, I believe. We may bring that back. But essentially we want to say here's our list, and that's going to be an observable of our content posts as an array. One thing I don't like about VS Code, it doesn't seem to get, like, it knows that it knows about this content post. It just doesn't recognize it in this lib yet. So we want to import it from our utils. So this is just the interface here. We're going to want to bring in observable from RxJS. And this is going to equal our HTTP client. And we're going to get on this content post array, and the URL for this was API /content posts. All right, so we've built our component. Let's just do, because we're short on time, we'll just do a quick pre. I actually don't want to make that multi-line. So I want to take our list observable here. So we're using the HTTP client with Git. So this observable actually behaves very similarly to a promise. We're going to go out, when it gets subscribed to, we're going to go out and get a single response and then immediately complete as soon as that response has come back. So we're going to pipe this to the async pipe. That's going to subscribe to things for us. And then we are going to pipe this over to JSON so we can just see it decently. So that's pretty much all we want to do here. And I think we're already exporting it. Let's make sure it's being exported. Export content post list component from lib / content post list / all that nonsense. And now inside of our app, we are going to get our web client and our app component. And well, first for the module, we're going to import our content post module. I can call it content posts module actually. Let's see. Import content posts module from live stream. So start the time. I think it was Zach live stream front end. Yeah, there it is. Oh, was this front end? No. What was this complaining about? Alright, let's see. Let's write. Let's just paste it here. Restart the TypeScript server. Maybe there was just some issue there. So over here we have the API server. I'm going to go ahead and run the NxServe our Circle web client. And still getting the error. I wonder what I did wrong here. I don't know. We'll find out. I had this error before. I don't even know what I did to fix it. But let's see. So without this module getting imported properly, can't even put it into the template yet. So let's see if we can cure what ails us here. Cannot find. Let's check our TS config. It's the front end, content posts, source. Index. Is this, which exports this. I don't understand why that wouldn't work. Don't know what I changed there. Oh wait, did that fail again? It did fail. Let's see. No, I don't. I'm still not sure. Oh well. Wait, was that it? Frontend content posts module. Oh wait. I think I just typed weirdly. Okay, there we go. That was silly. All right. So we got that. So we're going to take this. We're going to get rid of this working. I don't think we need that anymore. Let's kill this. And we can have a blank component. It's fun. And I'll go ahead and remove this while we're here. And then here we're going to want to have an R circle. What did we call this? Content post list. That worked. I don't know why this didn't. Let's make sure it's over here though. Refresh. Oops. Cool. So if we inspect this, oh, not what I wanted. We can see we have our content post list. And it's our very simple UI with just the pre. So just kind of like JSON formatting here. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and we'll do the same thing as this and make a quick form. Forms are my jam. I love forms. But the forms could be a lot better. But all right, let's just because we're in a hurry here, let's speed through this. We're going to bring in the forms module, import forms module from Angular forms. Also going to want to bring in the reactive forms module. And we're going to generate a component. What did we say we'd call this? Where's my thing? Said we'd call this create content post. Okay. Name create content post. I think these errors were just because I hadn't specified something yet. Oh, that's not what I want. I want the backend content posts. It should figure out the module for us by itself, and we'll make it export. That's all we need. Let's run that. Maybe I should be clicking skip tests here. I don't know. These things are so simple. Did I mess something up here? Let's see, component, name, create content post. I don't know what that's about. Let's try just doing that. Could not find an ng module. Did I mess something up? Let's see. Is that I wanted to generate, what's that? A component, create content post. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Front end, we're going to do SCSS, going to export. Oh, there, fixed itself, whatever. So I'll hit run there. Created all our stuff, updated the modules so we don't have to worry about exporting it. Let's pull this up over here. We'll pull up this over here. Kill this. We do need to have private HTTP. It's an HTTP client. Get rid of this. So we're going to have a submit method here. It's going to take, well, we're also going to have a create post control, new form control. I'm just going to give it, so this is for like, we'll attach this to the text area here in a second. We'll just use a required validator. Right, quick. Submit is going to take this HTTP client. We're going to post, and we're going to expect to get back a content post. So we're going to send it to the URL API content post / create. What did we call it in the router? Create post. Maybe I should add some of these things as into our utility thing too. That might be interesting. We'll do that later. And in terms of the body, we're going to use this create post control dot value as create content post request body. I think that's all we need to do. And we're going to subscribe to this. Well, I'm trying to think. So we're going to want to post to create the. By posting, we're going to add the post to our like in-memory stuff in the API. We're going to get that post back, but really we're not going to see it reflected into the list unless we refresh, which I think is fine. I think we'll just do that for now. Maybe later we can do some stuff with NGRX and just have that just automatically update on the list component there. For now, this is fine. We'll just see that we posted and see something come back. And then over here, going to want to update our template, a very simple template. Call it label for create post. Create a post. We're going to have our text area. It's going to have a form control, which is just going to be equal to our create post form control. Very important you close that on the same line. Then we're going to have a button. Well, let's do this. We also want to put this inside of a form. Go. I forget what I think it's ng submit. Submit. So by doing that, we're pretty much going to say this button, which is of type submit, is clicked. So we won't have to add like an on-click listener. It will call submit. I think we can also just do disabled equals create post control dot is valid. Is it just dot is valid? Yeah. There we go. I think that looks good. So create a post. Oh, let's add the ID here. Create post. I think this is relatively accessibility friendly. It's a tough part with forms. So we've done this. Got our prefix right. So I'm just going to grab this selector here. We're going to jump to the app module. Or not the app module, I need the template. And we're just going to stick this one on top. Let's see. Ideally this will work. Let's see if that built's alright. API is still running fine. Looks like the Angular stuff worked just fine. So we got our create a post. We'll just leave that for now. So it's empty. Submit is disabled. Hit enter. Well, if I hit enter, it's going to do that. Alright, so we're going to do this is a test post. So make sure we have the network enabled. We should see a post request to create post, which came back with 500. Let's see what that was. Let's see if we can see the logs here. This sounds fine. Okay, I think that's because we used the body parser wrong. Let's go back to the router for the create cuts. I think, let's see. Next time. I think we can just do it by putting it in here. Is that a thing? We'll find out. Okay, so the API restarted. Just going to submit this again, see if we get a different result. Oh, there we go. There's our request payload. We didn't get anything in the response. That seems wrong. Did this succeed even? Let's see. Let's refresh. No, we definitely did succeed. So let's see what's going on with that. Body parser is deprecated. Okay, well, I'll handle that later. Let's go to create post, and let's just console.log the request.body and see how that works. Yeah, that's just hanging there. That's what's going on. Express. Deprecated. All right, something's happening where I'm unable to get the body. I'm pretty sure I just messed this up here. Let's just do this. Router.use body parser here. Let's see if that works. No, it's not. That's so weird. Definitely doing something wrong. Let me check my snippets here. Probably should have looked at this earlier. Oh, yes. I need by parser.json. Dedoy. All right, let's see if that works. There we go. We got our 200. If we look at this, the response is the new thing that got created. If we refresh, there we can see, oh, the content didn't make it in, actually. That's not good. Oh, I know what I did wrong. We need to go back to our create content post. So we're just passing in the value, which is actually just a string. So what I need to do, this is a string. So I think what was the interface on that? Models. I'm rushing because we're already over time, but so this is a super type safe, but I think that's all we needed to do. So before I was just sending over the string as a content, as a piece of content, instead of sending a proper body over. With this change here, we're sending over a proper JSON with a content property with the value in there. So that should work. I think I was assuming I had a form group over here and I was using its value, which makes sense. Maybe we'll do that. Well, maybe we'll adjust this later. But I think now we should see. So this got. I'm just going to reset this so we can reset the in-memory storage. Back to listening. If we refresh, we should just see the one. We're going to say test message submitted. Saw the 200 go through. Again, ideally we'd want, as soon as we submitted that, this UI to kind of self-refresh, but we'll hit refresh here, and now we can see we got that test message here with the new ID, and the author ID still, well, oh, the author ID does not match. Let's see. Oh, Oh well, that's just our dummy data. That's fine for now. I think we'll go ahead and end that here. Let's look at, oops, kill off some of these. Just look at our MD file real quick. See what all we got done. We created the content list component. We created the content post component. And so we accomplished of these three things that we said we were going to do. We got them all done. The tentative thing we didn't get done, but that'll be a good place to start tomorrow. So cool. This was fun. Thanks all for showing up and having a good time. I'll look forward to catching y'all tomorrow. See ya.